Welcome to our podcast. We're childhood friends turned book besties.
Discuss all things bookish. I'm Aysia.
And I'm Taylor. And this is TBR Files. Hello, friends. Welcome to episode 2 of the TBR Files. I'm Taylor.
And I'm Aysia.
And today we are doing our rating systems.
Yeah, we thought since we're going to be telling you our thoughts on books, our ratings of books, just like how we review books, we thought might as well give everyone sort of a baseline of where we're coming from. Um, with a disclaimer that these change all the time. And
Yup.
my ratings from when I first started reading to how I rate books today are vastly different.
Oh God, mine too. Even just in a 1 year period, like mine has changed. So yeah, a lot.
Yeah. Good. Before we get started, we should also disclose that we are recording 2 episodes in a day. So we're not going to tell you again what we're reading because it's the exact same thing as we were reading in our last episode. So instead of telling you what we're currently reading, we're going to give you just sort of like our end of year. Well, this will come out in 2026. We're giving you just like
Fine.
our TBR over the next couple weeks. Um, so I've got a couple. Um, and I mean, my first part of my TBR is to finish the books that I'm currently reading. So finish
Yeah.
Fox by Joyce Carol Oates, and then finish the book by Catherine Newman that I cannot remember the name of at the moment. We are all important here.
Something like that. Yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I am in a small friend group with a couple of my friends. We do it virtually, and we are meeting the first week of January, and we're going to be reading The Love Haters by Catherine Senner, who is one of my favorite authors. I love all of her books. Well, minus one. There was one that I didn't really like.
There
But
was one.
yeah, there was one. But most of her books I'm super, super into. Um, and then I have an arc that comes out in early January through NetGalley that I need to read called The Charmed Library by Jennifer Mormon. And then we have our first buddy read that we decided on.
Ooh.
And it's going to be Intermezzo by Sally Rooney. So I need to read those 4 within the next couple weeks here, or 5, because
Yeah.
I have the other one. Yeah. What
Yeah,
about you,
I
Tay?
need to finish mine, which is The Will of the Many, which I'll probably finish like in tomorrow or later today. And
Perfect.
then what else was I reading? BK Borson.
Oh yeah,
Good
Good
Spirits.
Spirits.
Good Spirits. I'll probably finish that within the like next week. And then I've got one that is like pretty highly anticipated for me. It is A Fate So Dark and Delicate by Sophia Saint Germain. It's part of the Compelling Fate saga, and it comes out, it's the last book, and it comes out in 3 days, so December 17th. So I'm very excited for that. I got Intermezzo, and then I've got finishing the Time Traveler's Passport. So like it's an Amazon original series. I believe that there's 6 like novellas, and I have
Hmm
3 more to read on there, which will take me like 2 seconds to read those because they're like freaking 80 pages.
Yeah. Are
But
they the ones
I
that are
don't,
similar to the like Halloween ones that just got
yeah.
released? Okay, and then there was like a Christmas set last year or like a Valentine's Day or something.
Oh. Well, this one, okay, so I know that this one because it R.F. Kuang she did the second book. Like,
Okay.
because clearly they're not like interconnected at all. They're just
No.
by the same author, or by they're just in the same series but by different authors.
Yep.
Words are hard. And I read her book because like I get notified if she gets any new books or
Oh
like puts
yeah.
any new books out.
Yep.
And so I read that one, and then I was like, well, do I finish the series or like do I go through the series? And I was like, I might as well because it is like a science fiction series. So I was like, I'm gonna like this. So then I read the first book, and then I read the third book last week. I did
Okay.
like I think I did immersive reading, so I listened to both the audiobook and read the book at the same time. And then I've got three more.
Are
And
they
so far it's like this.
Kindle Unlimited?
Hmm.
Perfect. Love her.
Hmm.
Love to hear it.
And that's why I just found like because I did read Hot for Slayer by Ali Hazelwood, and that's in the same series that you didn't like the we're all something about monsters.
Yeah, all my boyfriends are monsters.
Yeah, and I've heard by multiple people that they don't like that book, and so I'm not going to continue that series. I didn't even really like Hot for Slayer.
Oh,
It
really?
wasn't. I listened to the audiobook.
Okay.
Don't listen to the audiobook. If I
Okay.
would have just read it, I think it would have been different. I still gave it like a I still sorry, my dog. I still gave it like a 2.5 out of 5 because I like Ali Hazelwood's writing.
Hmm.
Um, but the audiobook was horrible.
Oh
It was so cringy.
no.
It was so cringy. It was the male like because sometimes you know how the woman does the male's voice or whatever.
Yeah.
Mm-mm,
Yeah.
mm-mm.
I would have to
She
agree.
she
There's
she
one,
shouldn't have.
yeah. There's one in that called Fallen, and I think it's Christina Lauren that does it.
Mm-hmm.
And I really liked that one.
Okay.
I feel like that one they need to write into a full length because it was actually like so good. And then let me pull up. There was one more. Oh, Spicy Little Curses. That one was kind of cute too.
Oh. So maybe I'll just continue the series but not read My Boyfriend's a Monster or something like that.
Yeah, so like the first one is Hot for Slayer, that's Ali Hazelwood. The second one
Yep.
is Christina Lauren's. And then the third one is The Spicy Little Curses, which is JT Geisinger, which I don't know who that is. I haven't read any of their other stuff. Um, and then the fourth one is called Space Vampire. Have you heard of the my brain is like completely empty.
Per usual.
Yeah,
Mine
no,
too.
literally.
Whenever I
Ice
press
Planet
record on the video.
Barbarians.
Oh no, yes. I haven't read it, but I
Yeah.
have seen I've
So
seen a lot of discourse about that.
yes, one of my friends is like obsessed with those. Um,
Really?
yeah, she'll read like three in one sitting. Um, but the author who wrote those wrote the fourth one, and then the fifth one, Beautiful Nightmare, is fine. It wasn't my favorite. And
Yep.
then the last one, I was like, this is like I like weird shit. That was like a step too far for me. So,
Maybe
yeah.
I'll just have to like spite read it. I'll do the series and then I'll get to the end and I'll be like, I don't know if I want to read this one, but I'll probably spite read it.
It's 52 pages.
Oh,
Yeah.
then I'll read it.
Yeah. Like I was
It's
like,
fine.
whatever. Like I almost like don't count those as books because it's 50, that's like not a book. That's like a chapter.
It's a chapter. I count
I
them,
still
but it's
count
like
it, but like I feel
when
bad about it.
was last month. So November was like one of my biggest reading months, and somebody messaged me on Instagram and she was like, "Oh my God, you read so many books." And I was like, "Well, technically like four of them were novellas, so it's
Yeah.
probably like one book altogether." So I was like, "I promise I didn't read that much." So,
No, I like
but
feel the same that I'll be like, "Oh my God, yeah, I read, you know, however many books this month and like yeah, like four of them in the month were like 60 pages." It's like, well, you put all of those four together and you get like a regular length novella. Like it isn't
yeah,
even like a full length novel.
novel. Yeah,
But it's
it's
fun.
fine.
They're fun. They're cute. I know that people have been using them because they're trying to like reach their end of year goal. And like I'm so for that I'm like, yeah, do your thing.
Oh, 1000%. Absolutely. If
Yeah.
I was like, clearly I don't care about how much like I read. I do, but I don't. But I really wanted to make it to 100. So I think that if I didn't make it to 100, I probably would have read a couple of novellas, but I'm way
Yeah.
past that now. So
Yeah. Same.
you're a little
Okay.
way, you're a little further than me for sure. Probably 20 books. I've read 121.
And I finished 148 last night.
Yeah, yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. Which I guess this will be a good tracking point to like because the
Oh,
next episode that we record is going to be our end of year, which I know you guys are seeing this in January. Leave us alone,
Leave us
okay?
alone, okay? I wanted it to be that all my books were in for 2025,
Yes.
okay?
Yes. But you'll see, yeah, between this episode and our next one, how many we end up finishing the year with.
Hmm.
Um,
That gives me some sort of challenge for some reason. Like,
yeah, I'm like
hmm,
how many can I get to in the next 2 weeks? How many
weeks.
books can I
Well,
like
let me
read through?
see.
Yeah.
You'll just see a bunch of novellas
No,
on the
literally,
rest of my reading rat.
I like end the year with like 200 books and people are like, "How did you read 52 books in 2 weeks?" And I'm like, "I just didn't sleep."
Yeah. We're gonna be rating by or like going through our stars, kind of like how we rate things.
hmm
So technically like DNF isn't a star, but it's a part of reading. So yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's only been like a recent part of reading for me. I was never a person who DNF'd. I actually DNF'd for the first time in 2024. So that was the first time that I'd ever like
really?
stopped reading a book. Yeah, I'd never in my childhood in anything like if I started a book, I like had to finish it. It was like
Okay,
almost
Queen.
like compulsory. Like I was
Yeah.
like I like feel like I must know how this ends even if I like
Yep.
hate the process of reading it. And then I was like this is something I'm doing for fun. Why am I like
Torturing yourself.
dreading reading? Like this is like
Yeah.
my hobby. This is what I do for fun. If I'm dreading it because I don't like the book, I'll just read a different book.
Right.
So, but I'm also not a person that like will start a book, put it down, and then pick it up 2 months later. Like
Oh
if I
yeah, I'm
start
not that
it,
type of person either.
I have a friend who like will read a couple chapters because she doesn't DNF, but she'll put a book down for
So
months.
she'll soft DNF like a
Yeah,
book. Okay.
and then pick it back up later. And I don't do that. It's either I'm reading
I
it or I'm DNFing. Um, but I don't count my DNFs towards my
Mhm.
final counts.
Yeah.
And I think the quickest I've DNF'd a book was like 35% of the way. Um, but yeah, if I DNF, if I don't finish a book, if I don't get to the end, then I
Yep.
don't count it. So in 2024, I DNF'd 2 books, and in 2025, I DNF'd 4.
Okay.
And I don't expect that to go up, to be honest, for the rest of this year. I just like don't really think that that's something that I'll be doing. But 2026, I'm just getting more comfortable with the idea of like if I don't like it, if I'm not having a good time, if it's making me like dread reading, I'm gonna put it down and I'm gonna be done.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What about
That's
you?
kind of the same for me. Like DNFing, so I do count it. If for my thing, if I have read over 50% of the book, I count it towards my reading goal because
Okay.
I suffered through that.
Yeah.
I suffered through that like whatever. But I've only DNF'd 2 books this year, and that was like really difficult for me, especially just getting into reading. I'm like, I don't want to DNF like a book, but
hmm
I DNF'd Credence by
Which,
Penelope Douglas.
yeah.
I made it 75% of the way through that hellish of a book, okay? That's going towards my reading goal.
Yeah.
And then I DNF'd Boy Parts by Eliza Clark, which I don't know if you've read that book, but
Mm-mm.
we read it as so me, my mom, and my sister, and then one of my sister's friends, Jordan, we read it as like a group, and we were trying to like read kind of like unhinged books. Um, and technically this isn't like I'd say an unhinged book. Maybe it is. I don't know. I made it a little bit over 50, maybe even like 49%, but whatever. And like I don't know what the point of the book was. I
Mm,
truly don't know. So I just like DNF'd it, but I will be getting better at like DNFing books because what's the point of reading something if I'm not going to enjoy it?
yeah.
That's my little DNF thing. What about 1 stars for you?
Well, before we get to 1 stars, I am a girl that will rank less than one.
Oh, 1000%.
if
Yes.
if I truly, truly, truly don't like a book, I will rate it less than one. And
Yeah.
like it is what it is. It's not something I do super commonly,
Mhm.
because typically if I'm rating it less than a 1 star, it means that I like likely was mad the entire time reading it. Um, and finished it either because it was like a super short novella or because I was like, how are you going to wrap up this just like
God awful
absolute
book.
garbage can of a book? Um, so, but yeah. And something that, so I really like numbers, which we talked about
Yes.
last.
Yes.
So I figured out the percentages of each star category that I rated since 2023. And what I learned is I'm consistent as hell. Like my star ratings, there's like some differences, but for the most part, like I'm right around the same percentage in each bucket every year, which is like,
Okay.
okay, look at me.
You're a consistent queen.
No, literally. So less than 1 star, I'm typically right around 2%. So in 2023, it was 2 out of the 90 books I read. 2024 was 1 out of the 118. And this year, it's been 3 of the 148 that I've read so far. So not a ton, but enough where I remember them and I'm like, I am really mad at that book. Those are typically books that by the
Yeah.
time I'm done, I go, I wish I would have DNF'd this.
And that's what 1 stars are for me.
Okay.
Or or not 1 stars per se, under 1 stars is what I meant. Like Credence and Boy Parts, technically, like clearly I said I didn't finish them, but I rated them the lowest like you could rate on any app.
Mm-hmm.
So, but other than that, did I have oh yeah, under 1 star, I labeled abso-fucking-lutely not. Um, but I like what I categorize like under one is like truly I don't understand why this book was written or like what was it about. And so I read two out of 121, so mine's around like 1.6%. So I did the same percentages as you, but clearly I only have it for this year. So
Yeah. Um, what's your 1 star? How do you categorize your 1 stars?
pain, suffering, and would not recommend. So I say that I either for like a 1 star. So like what I did is I did like 1.2, like I did half stars and then just put them all into like the one or whatever.
Hmm.
So I said that I either read it out of spite or I actively hated it. And then most of them clearly I rated it a 1 star. So I regretted finishing it, but I just finished it. And for 2025, I read 6 out of 121, so 4.9% were one
Okay.
stars. What about you?
Um, my 1 stars are similar to the under 1 stars, but I didn't necessarily regret finishing them.
Yeah.
For 1 stars, I can typically, for under 1 stars, I'm like, nobody should read this. For 1 stars, and it's like 1, 1.25, 1.5,
Yep.
1.75. Um,
Yep.
I'm like, I could understand why someone potentially would.
Hmm.
It's like it's this book just is gonna piss me off.
Yeah.
And I likely finished it out of spite. Um, so in 2023 and 2024, approximately 3% of my reads um one 1 star. In
Yep.
2025, it did jump up to 8. Um,
Oh,
but I also read significantly more books this year, and I feel like when you read a lot of books, you're more likely, and like again, I read, I think we talked about this in the last one, in the last episode, but I go into most of my reading blind.
yep.
So when you go into books blind and you don't really know like what they're about,
Yeah.
like you're bound to run into books that just like aren't your cup of tea.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, so 12 of the books that I've read this year, I've rated 1 stars.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's horrible. That's I feel like that's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean for 148 books, like 12 I feel like is
Yeah.
not that crazy of a and I am I am really, really, really particular, and we'll get into this about like my 5-star reads,
Yeah. Yep.
but I throw out a 3 and a 4-star like nobody's business.
Oh yeah. 1000%. So what about your 2 stars then? Like what do you call your 2 stars?
2 stars feel a little bit like a waste of a time for me after I'm done reading them. Um, I probably was bored, to be honest, for most of it, and like didn't really feel super engaged with the story, but I felt engaged not with the whole thing, but with pieces.
Yeah.
And like the more pieces that maybe caught my eye is gonna like just like increase that up to like a 2.75. Like a
Yeah.
2.75, especially for just like a romance read, is like a relatively like decent score for me. Because
Okay.
if we're thinking about like 1 to 5, average is 2.5.
Right.
So like it's above average, but it's not great.
Right.
Yeah. So 2 stars, 2023 and 2024 were 22% of my reads. And then it's been 20% of my reads in 2025. So I'm
Look
I'm
at you. You
consistent.
are consistent.
I'm
You
I'm a
are a
very
consistent
consistent read.
queen.
I'm like,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah. What about you?
So 2 stars, I say like I rated like some potential, mostly a miss. So kind of similar to yours. I mostly only enjoyed a few parts, like picking and choosing out like a few parts that I liked from the book. And I still know like numerous issues that could have like
Hmm.
something could have happened in order you could have fixed this or something to that fact. And then for 2025 I read 6 out of 121, so I read about 4.9%, so
Okay.
the same as my 1 stars. um and we'll get into it with 3, 4, and 5. You'll definitely see an increase in especially 4s and 5s. I When I first started reading, I felt bad for giving a star under or giving a book under like a 4 stars or under a 3.5 stars. So I was too generous with
Yeah.
my rating system, and that has like significantly changed. I'd say starting in like August, maybe
Okay.
July of this year, I like was like, why am I rating these books 5 stars if I didn't even enjoy it that much? Or
Hmm.
like 4 stars if I didn't enjoy it. Why am I rating it this? So you'll see that like this year definitely compared to like next year when we do this, it will be totally different. Totally different.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like when you're first getting started, um, and this is something that I've like really come to realize now as I'm writing more, and we'll get into it later again, writing more reviews, is that I will rate something right after I'm done reading it. And
Mhm.
then typically like a day or two later, I'll go in and I'll change it.
Oh, yeah. And that's what I've started doing as well. Just because like you have time to sit and think about
Hmm.
that book and like, do these characters, did they actually mean something to me, did the plot actually mean something to me, stuff like that. Like with the Poppy War, I'm so sorry, with the Poppy War, I really liked the first book. I didn't change the rating on the second book, but the more that or the Burning God, it was really only the Dragon Republic that I changed.
Which I think
But
is
like,
so funny that that is
that is your
your
favorite.
least favorite and that's my favorite.
I know, I felt so bad. I was like, don't hate me. But um that one, for like actually for like 2 or 3 weeks, I was like, should I change the rating? And I know for some people it's like controversial to go over like a month if you haven't like read that book in a month. It's like, why would you change the rating on that? Well, because the more I think about that book, the
Hmm.
more that I'm going to whatever. And like if it's like 6 months from now, I'm leaving that rating.
Right.
Like it's in a short period of time where I'm still thinking about it. I still know the details of the story. but that one I went from I think a 3 star. I think I started at a 3 star and then I went down to 2.5. And then like a week later, I was like, I'm gonna be really honest. I hated this book. And so I put it as a 1.5 and I was like, yeah, I feel so bad.
Like that's the thing. I don't think that like there's a reason to feel bad because it's just like opinion is so subjective.
Oh, 1000%.
Yeah. That you're not saying it was a bad book, you're saying that you didn't like it. There are some
Right.
books that I will
Exactly.
say are bad books. And but the
Mhm.
thing about those books is I'm not going to get on the internet and start dragging those books.
Okay, unless it's Credence. Then
Yeah.
I will get my ass on the internet and I will drag that book in the mud. But other than that, unless it is a very controversial book where like there is shit going on, like racism, like
Mm.
from the actual author,
Hmm.
sexism, homophobia. Besides that, I won't say anything about the book. But
Yeah. And
you add any of those,
I'm
we're
gonna
we're
write
having a
down.
talk.
Yeah, I'm gonna write down for us to talk about in a future episode. Like I think that like there's a lot of discourse right now on like separating the art from the artist and being like,
Mm,
can you still consume media that has been produced by a person whose like beliefs or morals or actions like go against what
right.
you actively believe? Um, so think on
That's gonna
that
be a really
because we're
good
gonna come back to
episode.
that. Yeah.
Yes, that's gonna be a really good one. I think we're gonna go really in depth about that one. We probably have so many like books and authors to talk about for that
Hmm.
one. So stay tuned for that one, friend.
Stay tuned. But yeah, okay. So for 3 stars, that's where I start. That's where everything starts.
Yeah.
Um, I go into a book and my brain is, we're starting at 3 stars. This author can either build
Hmm.
or sink against those 3 stars with how this book is written.
Yeah.
If it ends with 3 stars, it was just good. Like I probably had a good time reading it. Um, but it wasn't anything special, and it probably isn't worth me recommending. Like
Right.
it's not a book that I think that is like worth recommending or that people or that there's like a high enough chance of people enjoying it
Yeah.
to recommend. But I still had like a good time reading it. 3 stars for romance books for me are really high. Um,
Hmm.
and I know that people are going to be like doing or like rating your romance different than rating your other books is like whatever. But when we get into like why and how I rate things the way that I
Yeah.
do, there's like a content piece that I feel like is missing in a lot of romance. Not all romance. I have rated some romance really, really high and up to a 5 star.
Yeah.
Um, but it has to be more than just girl meets boy, girl and boy fall into love, girl and boy
Happily
have
ever
a
after.
miscommunication, girl and boy get
They have
back
a fight,
together. Yeah.
and then it's happily
And
ever
then it's
after.
happily ever after.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So this one, in 2023 was 37% of my reading, 2024 was 40%, and then this year was 32. So again,
Okay.
relatively consistent across
Consistent.
the board. Yeah. What about you?
So for 3 stars, I just said solid book. Like pretty much what you said. It's like a solid book. Would I recommend it? Depending on the book, maybe, maybe not. Um, and then for I said like enjoyable but forgettable. So I feel like that's just I don't know. Maybe that's like 3 stars average for people is what I think would be like enjoyable but forgettable, but I could be wrong. Um, I'd say missing some key plot points, and I most likely wouldn't recommend, just depending on the book.
Yep.
And then for 2025, I read 27 out of 121, so I read about 22.3% of
Okay.
3 stars and 3 to 3.75 stars. So
Yeah.
I'd say not horrible, but then you get to my 5 stars and horrible. Okay.
Yeah.
What about 4 stars for you?
Yeah. You just skip over 4 stars completely. 4 stars are when things are actually getting good for me.
Yeah.
Um, I and like it's hard because we're doing a 4 to a 4.75 that I feel like there's
Yep.
such a big difference in like my expectations and the quality that I assume is like coming up between those. But like for the most part, 4 stars is like a key rating for me.
Yep.
I it typically like made me think or consider, or the characters sort of sat with me for a while. Again, with romance, it's really, really hard to get a
Hmm.
4. It's really, really hard to get above a 4. It does happen. Um, but yeah, I just like 4 stars are just good, good, good books for me.
Yep.
They're the easiest high ranking that I'll give. Um,
Fair. Fair.
so
Yep.
like if we were looking at like where my ratings are, like if we were to like graph them, I like
Yep.
very much have a bell curve that sits around a 3. My threes are
Okay.
where the majority of my ratings sit, and then it tapers off both at 2 and at 1 and 5. Um,
Okay.
so we're doing like a very average bell curve for all my statistics people.
Oh, she brings the math into it.
I was a statistics TA this semester,
Oh,
so yeah, I'm
yeah.
statistics on the brain. Um, and then 4 stars are when I start to recommend. If a book is below
Okay.
a 4 star, it's kind of rare that I will recommend it.
Yep.
But 4 stars and above is where I will continue to talk and like will continue to tell people to read. Um, And these ones are like super consistent. It's crazy. So 2023, 20% or 27% of the books that I read. 2024, 28%. 2025, 28%. So like I am so consistent with my
Literally.
rankings. It's like it's insane. Um
I'd
I
love to
was
see like from when you like I guess you really did like 2020. I'd love to see clearly you didn't start like tracking until 2023. But I'd love to see from 2020 and up like if anything did change or if you did stay consistent.
no, because
No?
before 2020 or before 2023, I was giving out 5 stars like I was a billionaire giving out dollar bills.
Right.
I was
Okay.
like, you
Yeah.
get a 5 star, you get a 5 star,
You
you
get
get a
a five
five
star. You
star.
get a five
I'm like
star.
Oprah. Um, and but the thing about me with my rankings is that like I'm not gonna go back to a book that I rated 5 stars in 2020 and change it.
Oh, yeah, correct.
Because at the point in my life where I was when I read it, that was a
Hmm.
5 star read for me.
Yep.
Um, now like if I were to like reread it, then yes, I'd change it. You know,
Yeah.
but like I gave it a 5 star at that time because it felt like a 5 star read to me at that time.
Yep. And sometimes 5 stars, we'll get into it, but 5 stars are just a vibe sometimes.
Yeah.
That's just what they are.
Yeah. How do you rate your 4 stars?
So 4 stars, I'd say very good and would recommend. This is when I start really like the characters mean something to me. The plot really like means something to me. It's changed something in me or made me think about something differently. Something like that. I just said had a great time.
Yeah.
And then a few flaws, but strong overall. So the flaws didn't outweigh like the rest of the story for
Hmm.
me. And for 2025, I read 33 out of 121. So I read about 27.2% overall, which
Okay.
is not horrible.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, what about 5 stars?
I am picky with my 5 star reads. I think this is the first year since I've really started keeping track, since I've really been like intentional about my ratings, that I've rated more than 10 books 5 stars in a year. I
Wow.
am I am picky.
Oh,
Um, these books are typically books that sit with me, that stay with me, that I like can't stop talking about, can't stop thinking about. Anybody who has talked to me within 2 weeks of me finishing these books has heard me talk about these books. Like even people who do not give a single fuck about reading will have heard me talk about these
Yeah.
books. Um, these are like, yeah, these books changed me, my spirit, my perspective, my outlook on life. Um, there are five-star reads that I've read that I read years ago and still think about to this day.
Yeah.
And then these books are ones that like I would like get tattooed. Like these books mean a lot to me like as a human being.
Yeah.
Um so in 2023, 8 of the 90 books that I read were 5 stars, so about
Yeah.
9%. 2024, 7 of the 118 that I read were 5 stars,
Oh, a
so
little
about
bit low.
6%. And then I didn't write down how many were this year. Brief pause.
We pause.
Um, this year there have been 13 of my 148, so about 9%.
Okay.
But yeah, like there have been times where I'm like, that's a 5 star read, and then I'll sit on it for 2 days and be like, that's probably actually a 4.5. Because
Yeah.
like there was something that just like isn't at it, they're very poignant for me.
Mhm.
A lot of the 5 star reads that I have are character studies.
Okay.
Um, so there like isn't a ton of plot, but we're moving with one character or a group of characters over their lifetime or their life
Okay.
term, and
So
we're
more like
learning with them.
emotionally, like it affects you emotionally, or you like very much enjoy their emotions, the character's emotions, stuff like
Yeah,
that.
like
Okay.
I am learning as the characters are learning. Like I'm
Okay.
learning about life through their eyes.
Yep.
Um, Granted, there are some books that are like heavier plot fantasy-esque that are 5 stars for me. The Hunger Games, most of those are 5 star reads for me. Not all of
Yes.
them. Not all of them. I need to make that clear. But
Well, now I gotta know.
okay, so Catching Fire is a 5 star read.
Oh, yes.
Um, The Hunger Games itself is like a 4.75. Mockingjay is like a 4.
Okay.
Ballad is like a 4.25.
Okay.
And then Sunrise on the Reaping is a 5.
Yeah.
But like like that's what I mean is that like I'm picky about
You
my five
are
stars
picky. The Hunger Games. What? How is that not a five?
because it was good.
Mhm.
I don't know what I would have wanted more from it, but it didn't sit with me the same way that the other ones did.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I do agree with Mockingjay. I still rated it a 5 stars. I did really love it, but there was an element that was missing, or I don't know. The ending, though, I think the ending is what sold me. Usually that does not happen with 5 stars. If like we're going through the book and it's like a 4.5 is what I'll, think in my head is what I'll rate it. And then if the ending is like catastrophic and amazing and stuff like that, I'll usually just maybe bump it up like 0.25. But with Mockingjay, that was one of the books where I was like, the ending, like it was already at like a 4.75 for me, but the ending made it a 5 star. The ending was what I wanted. So, but I
Yeah.
totally get that.
Yeah. But yeah,
Yeah.
so how do you rate your 5 stars?
Oh. Okay, at the start of the year, much different than now, clearly. But for my 5 stars, like inject it into my veins directly. Like give that I yeah. Like I said, I have started to become mindful, and we'll see when we get to my percentages. For me, what makes a book 5 stars? I can't stop thinking about it. I read the book, let's say a week ago, and I'm still consistently thinking about it. The characters, the plot, both, just whatever it is, I can't stop thinking about it. I would definitely reread at some point. If it's under a 4.75, I'm most likely not going to reread it. But if it's a 5 star, there is a high chance that I'll probably reread it and I want it on my shelf. And I would recommend a 5 star to anybody who listens to me. I don't care if they don't like books. I'm gonna recommend it to you. Now, this is the part. So 2025, I had this is so embarrassing. I had 47 out of 121. So I
At like
had about
30%.
38.8% of my
Yeah.
books this year were 5 stars. And that next year, it will be a lot different. It will be a lot, depending on the books I read, I guess, but it will be a lot different because
Well, and
I
I think that
just,
like when you start to read, you find a lot more joy in the books that you're reading. Like when you first
oh,
get
yes.
into reading, like reading just feels so joyful that everything feels like a really good book, which I think
Yeah.
is like a fair way
Oh,
to
yeah.
live.
And I am definitely not as strict or rigid as you with my 5 stars. Like, I will still rate a book 5 stars, even if there are a few like things in the plot that don't make sense or something wasn't explained. I
Hmm.
still, if it sticks with me, I am definitely more of like a vibes with 5 stars.
Yeah.
And like I will go back maybe after like a week or so, and if I really feel like it's truly not a 5 stars, then I'll bring it down. But yeah, fives are definitely vibes for me.
Yeah. Well, and I think that that's okay. But one thing that you were saying is that like you'll recommend 5-star books. I'm a gatekeeper with my 5-star books.
Oh, Asia's a
There
gatekeeper.
I
Oh
am. There are certain 5-star books that I'm like, I like these characters are mine. Like I don't want
no.
other people because what happens when I open up my 5-star reads, especially
Mhm.
as somebody who cares less about plot and more about character development, is that people will read them and be like, I thought this was boring. And like
Yes.
and then it's really hard to have a conversation about like this is why I loved this book and these are why the
Yep.
characters like resonated so much and they're like I didn't really care.
Yep.
And that kind of it puts a damper on like
Oh,
my spirit. So
1000%.
there are certain 5-star reads of mine that I do gatekeep because I'm like I
Yep.
want to sit or and not forever. Because if there's somebody who is like I'm looking for a book that has these sort of themes, um
Yep.
then I'll give it up, right? Like but there are certain books that I just want to like sit with on my own and like be with the characters on my own before I open them up to being criticized by
1000%.
people.
I guess I never even like thought about it that way. But that's why 5 stars, which we will do a video at some point where we may go and look at like our favorite books and look at like 1 stars or our
Hmm.
least favorite books and look at like the 5 stars. But I guess I never really thought about it that way. But with 5 star books, I will not look at the reviews,
Oh, really?
especially if it is like after, especially if it is like a more controversial book where not controversial per se, but like a divide. Like with the Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, there is such a great divide between people who and it's like there's no middle ground pretty much where
Hmm.
either people hate it or they love it. And for me, like I actually it was recommended by a YouTuber. Um and I was like, well, I'm just gonna try it. And I fell in love with it. And I had read Fable does this thing where it like you get reviews of what people like some of the books that you've read. Have you like in your algorithm,
I don't ever
Fable
scroll
will
through
do that?
Fable, to be honest.
Mm. Maybe I should just stop doing that as well. But I'll see like a book that I loved and somebody rated it like a 1.5 star. And sometimes I catch myself reading it and then I'm like, why am I doing this to myself? That's just that
Hmm.
person's like opinion. And then it gets me thinking like, well, why did I rate it a 5 star? And
Hmm.
I don't want to do that. If I feel like a book is 5 stars, unless it's my own thoughts about like whether I should bring it down or change the rating or whatever. I don't want another person's thoughts to influence me. So
Yeah.
that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah. And like the thing is that like I like deeply understand that a lot of the books that I really, really love, people can get to the end and be like, what was this book even about? And
Yeah.
like for people who visualize books as movies in their head, I can understand where you're like, this is a 500-page book that took place over 48 hours. Like what did we do here? But to
Yeah.
me, it's I don't see it, but I feel it.
Right.
Um, but this is where we differ in that
Mm-hmm.
I don't rank books 6 stars. Five
Yeah.
is the tippy top of my rating, and you can tell that by like the very how picky I am
Yeah.
with my ratings. Um,
And go
yeah.
ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say like I've seen a lot on like Book Talk, on like Bookstagram of people like these are my like God tier series, these are my blah 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 blah. I
Yeah.
just don't do that. I just like I have my 5 star. I have books that I really love, and they all sit in one bucket together, one very
Yeah.
very small bucket. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that is definitely something that we differ on. And for me, I'm not like with God tier books or 6 stars or whatever I freaking rate it that's above 5 stars. Technically, I can only rate it a 5 stars
Right.
on an app, but I just in my head mentally that is a book that's going to stick with me forever.
Mm-hmm.
The one that I can think of now would be Babel by R.F. Kong. That one just that is a god tier book for me where I will reread it probably every year. Like a god tier book for me has to be one where I will read it every year.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'll have something like that. Or that's god tier books are only special like if I were to get a special edition, that would be the only reason, why I'm very particular. And that's like with my 5 stars, not as particular, but with like everything above that, it's like I maybe have one or two. Um, and I see a lot of people like ranking like 6 stars and whatever. That's like if that's how you want to do it, that's how you want to do it. But they have so many in their like 6 star category or whatever
Mm-hmm.
it is. And for me, it's like this book literally has to change my life in some way. Where
Yep.
I think that's 5 stars for you. So I think my rating system is just like a tish different.
Yeah.
And I'm just not I'm very lenient on my ratings, I would say.
Yeah. And I when it comes to like the like quarter ratings, half ratings, 3/4 ratings, those
Yeah.
I'd be throwing those out like candy, right? Like I'm like, yeah, sure, it's a 4.25, like it's
Yeah.
like better. And when I do those, a lot of the time what I'm doing is I'm looking at books that I've read recently and comparing what I just read to that. And that's how
Okay.
I'm coming up with like, oh, I've read two really good books that are considered 4 star books, but these two compared to each other, which one did I like better?
Right.
And then that's how I like determine like a 0.25 or a point 0.5 or a 0.75. 4.75s are hard again because they're like the closest you can
Mhm.
get to being a
Yeah.
5 without being a 5. Um, but like other than that, I just be throwing
You just be throwing them out.
0.25% at anything sort of willy-nilly.
So for quarter stars, that's my throwing out willy-nilly. Not for 0.75. I'd say for 0.25. I throw that out willy-nilly. For
Mm-hmm.
0.75, it's definitely like it has to be close to that next up rating. But
Mm-hmm.
I do have like half stars are a little bit more intricate for me. So for like 1.5, I did like if I rated it a 1.5, I didn't consider DNFing it,
Okay.
or it ended better than I thought that it was going to be. For 2.5 stars, there was potential there, but the delivery wasn't what I wanted it to be, or the delivery
Mm.
was off. And or there was like a possible redeeming, like a redemption for the book that made it have that half star. And then for 3.5, I liked it more than average, or there was minor plot holes, but it didn't ruin the book overall. It didn't ruin the fun of the book. And then for 4.5s, it had a strong emotional impact, or it was so close like to perfection. Like like it was so close to a 4.75, but it just didn't quite make it there yet. Just like with the 4.75, it was so close to a 5 star. There was just a few things that made me not rate it that. But with the quarters with 0.25, I just throw those out. I'm like, who cares?
You
It's
get a
fine.
point two
It's
five. You get a
vibes for
point two
me.
five. Yeah. But I like, and I know that everyone's on Goodreads ass. Goodreads, get it together. Give us 0.25, give us 0.5, give us 0.75. Every other
Like,
app is doing it.
I don't understand because they had this new update come out where they were like brand new Goodreads. This was like a couple months ago or whatever, and everybody was like, "Yes, we're finally getting quarter and half stars
And a DNF option.
and a DNF option." Literally, all they changed was the logo,
Yeah.
and it's uglier than it was
Yeah.
before. And I was like, "This is why I just primarily use Fable. I'll put that I read a book on Goodreads, but that's all I'll do. We're on Fable, like that's where I put my TBR. Like I log all of like my TBR and stuff like that. So yeah, Goodreads needs to get it together.
Yeah. And like people aren't using Goodreads because of its connection to Amazon, which I think is fair. Um,
Hmm.
I like it because it auto connects to my Kindle, which people don't use Kindles because of its connection to Amazon, which fair.
Yeah. Same. So like I definitely like with Amazon, this is a whole nother thing, but I don't use Amazon that much.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I did buy a Kindle, and at this point, I kind of wish that I would have bought like a Kobu or whatever it
Oh yeah.
is. But the nice thing with Kindle is that it has Kindle Unlimited.
Yeah.
And I use Libby actually, my library app. I use that probably more than I use Kindle, but if I can't find something on Libby, most likely Kindle Unlimited has it.
Yeah.
So like I get why people don't use Kindle Unlimited and Goodreads, and I think it's for a very good reason.
Yeah.
Maybe one day I'll get to the point where I don't.
Yeah. I think that that's an eventuality for me. I think right now it just kind of is what it is.
It's just what it is, yeah.
Yeah. Like it, I know that it's like you have to pros and cons of like convenience versus like morals. And
Yeah.
with where I'm at in my life, with where I'm at like financially, like convenience is just kind of sits a little bit higher for me.
Yeah.
But of eventually, the plan would be to get rid of all Amazon products.
Yes, one day, one day.
Yeah.
I don't have like Amazon Prime or anything like that. I actually just use my mother's. So technically like it's not me.
Yeah. But while we're talking about rating, doing our stars, what are the things that you consider when you're rating?
Ooh. So for me, it is so I have like top three categories. I think like we decided to do top three. So top three for me, number one would be the plot and the pacing. I am a plot girly. I just always have been. I have figured out that that's kind of like my niche. That's what I like. So like for plot and pacing, is it engaging? Does it feel slow, just right, or rushed? And then if the ending was worth it. Did I truly feel like that was the best ending for that story? And then the second is characters. So I also am very character driven. The characters have to mean something for me.
Mm-hmm.
to like a book. I think that's honestly, I feel like that's a lot of people. The characters have to mean something. If I felt like they were real people, if they could be real people like in real life and not okay, not like fantasy
Right.
stuff like that. Just like if they could be an actual human outside of the story. I think for some reason that's really important to me that they have the qualities, the wants
Mm-hmm.
to, you know, if I felt invested in their outcome, I think that's just another big one with characters that people, like. And then if they grew and changed. Like I love coming of age stories. So if there's a coming of age story that the person doesn't actually grow and change, what was the point of that book?
Yeah, agree.
And then my third one, honestly, is overall enjoyment.
Yeah.
I don't really have like that many categories that I consider, but like overall enjoyment, of course, is going to be one of them. So if
Mm-hmm.
it was fun, if it was a fun read, if it was a like book that kept my attention, and would I recommend it? I think that's like a pretty big one. If I like the book, would I recommend it, you know?
Yeah. Um,
What about you?
so when I rate, right, like my the top thing that I'm always sort of looking at is like, did this book make me feel?
Yeah.
Did I get sucked into the story enough that like there was an emotional impact for me? Um, and that that is always going to sit really high for me because most of the enjoyment that I get from reading is like experiencing somebody else's thoughts,
Oh yeah.
emotions, like whatever else. And then just like as an aside, I cry at everything. Like I
Oh, same.
love crying at media, right? Like
Yeah.
TikToks I cry,
Oh yeah.
movies I cry, TV shows I cry. So like if a book can make me cry or make me tear up, that's gonna boost it like a half star for me.
Oh,
That's if I'm feeling connected to the characters enough that like I'm genuinely feeling like and like having like actual feelings in my body, then like that's gonna be a book that I rate pretty highly. Um, Another one is writing style. Um,
mhm.
I I can get lost or can get tossed out of a book really, really easily.
Yeah.
Um, so like if it was written well, if the tone of voice is really well, it is done well in the writing. And this is not for like indie authors, debut authors who are independently publishing because there's a lot. I mean, I still if it's something that's like very frequent and it's happening all the time, then it will drag me out of it. But
Yeah.
I'm a little bit more forgiving for an independent author than one that is signed with a publishing company. Um,
Hmm.
if you if you are publishing through a publishing house of
Yep.
any size and there's a grammar error or a typo,
Yeah.
I like I just there's it takes me out of the story completely.
Yeah.
Um where I was once like fully involved in this story in these characters, I've now been brought back to like my person as like a
Yeah.
person who's reading. It like reminds me that I'm reading and
Yeah.
that's really not what I'm looking for when I'm reading a book. Like I want to be completely immersed in this story. Um
Especially if they're being like published
yeah,
by a publishing house. I feel like,
because that was seen by so many eyes. You're telling
yeah.
me that six people read this before I did and probably multiple times
Yeah.
and I'm catching a tight like
The
that.
reader's catching it.
It's just like sloppy to me. But again, like
Hmm.
this is it is different for small authors who are independently publishing and like putting their work on KU. Like
Yeah.
that if I catch it, I'm like, well, that wasn't great. But I'm like, this was probably only read by this person and like yeah, they should have done
Yeah.
line edits, but like I can understand.
Right.
Um yeah, there's things about that that are just gonna they're just gonna take me out of it. And it's also just like, is does the story flow well? Like, do I
Right.
understand how we got from point A to point B to point C? Because if we're doing this really weird thing where we're trying to like weave this story really complicated, and
Hmm.
it just like it's not gonna pull me into it. I heard some discourse on the internet earlier that was like, there are readers, writers, and there's writers, writers. And I think that like people can get sort of lost in the sauce if an author is like a writer's writer and are kind of being a little bit potentially like more like academic
Or
or
even like more flowery, I would say. Like their
yeah.
writing's more flowery. Yeah.
And like that's something that I like personally don't mind.
Hmm.
Um as somebody who's like done a ton of like academic reading and writing, um I can kind of like have fun in works that are potentially a little bit more pretentious.
Yeah.
'Cause like Fox, the one that I'm reading right now, is definitely pretentious. Like that book is, and I love it. I like
Yeah.
that book is a book that was written for writers, not
Yeah.
necessarily for readers. Um, so like that doesn't super harm me, but it's like when we do that and then we're being really complicated about the story that we're also trying to tell, it just can just
Hmm.
be it can just feel like, what was the point? Um,
Right.
and then again, like you, did I like the book? I'm a
Yeah.
vibes reader. Like
Yeah.
I'm not actively searching for plot holes. Um, or I'm coming up with theories, or I'm like tying what was said on page 200 of book 1 to page 500 in book
Oh,
6.
yeah.
Like
No.
that's not me.
No.
Um,
Me either.
so like as long as you've hooked me, then I'm having a good time.
A good time. It's a
Yeah.
great time.
Yeah, honestly. No, like for real. It's
What
crazy.
about what about reviews? What are like how do you write reviews? Do you write reviews for every book?
No. I've only recently really started to write reviews. It was something that I told myself at the top of this year that I was going to be more intentional about, and then I wasn't. Um,
Fair enough.
so we're putting that as a resolution for 26. I it's just not something that I've necessarily prioritized. But I have recently been trying to get into being more intentional about it because I've
Yeah.
been way more active on NetGalley. Um, where for people who don't know, it's you sign up for it, and then you um, request to read books prior to their publishing date.
And it's
Um,
free.
and it's free, and they
It's
and you
free.
get an EPUB version or like a PDF version of the book. And then you're just supposed to write a review about it after you're done reading.
Yeah.
And I've gotten really into that this year. Um, so I've or within like the last couple of months. So those are really the main books that I've been writing reviews about this year.
Yeah.
Um, but I found that I actually really like writing reviews and like I'm having a really good time like writing about the books that I'm reading. Um, so that's something that I am going to be a little bit better about. And with doing that, I've started a note on my phone.
Oh.
So I'm actively taking notes while I read. So like, and they're all under different
Oh,
just like
dang.
tabs. So like this is an arc that I recently read. Um, and I'm just like actively writing down. I'm showing it to the people who are audio listening, but I'm just like actively writing down like my thoughts.
Okay,
And
that's smart.
it's making reviewing afterwards so much easier
Oh yeah.
because I
Because
have my thoughts
sometimes
then from start to end rather than my thoughts of like just the sort of last couple of
yeah.
pages.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I think that like that's something that I'm going to try to be more intentional about. It's also just kind of like playing with my own sort of writing abilities.
Mhm.
And I feel like I'm becoming, well, one, I'm a better writer because I'm a reader. Um, and two, I'm becoming a better writer through writing reviews.
Yep.
And I'm becoming a better reader through writing reviews.
Ooh, all three.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, what is your sort of like, how do you write reviews? Do you write reviews? What's that
Ooh.
process?
So at the beginning, the most that I'd write in a review, I'd really only like write reviews for 5 stars, or if it did like really leave an emotional impact on me. But it was just like, wow, I love this book. And then there was like no more to it. And
Felt.
honestly, that's what my reviews were. Or just like, this character impacted me. I really like this character, but like there was no explanation why. And it's not like I want to put a spoiler, but I mean you can put spoilers if you want to. I'm just not one to put spoilers in the reviews. Um, but there was like no depth to it where for NetGalley, I think I've read two and I've done two reviews and it's like at the end of the book and like I'm trying to like think about all the way back at the start and I
Hmm.
think I need to do what you do if I want to write a review, but most reviews are just vibes for me.
Yeah,
It's
felt.
if it's usually if I really loved a book or I really hated the book. But one thing, kind of like what we talked about before, I don't slander the author.
Yeah.
I actually, in the Lightlark series, even though clearly she'll never read my review, I I said I think it was like the last book. I was like I really like I hated this book and I was like I'm really sorry Alex asked her. I was like I'm really sorry. And like clearly she's not going to write that, but I would never like intentionally try to make the author like try to make the author be like a bad person, a bad writer.
Yeah.
It was just something that I didn't enjoy, so that's like a big thing that I don't do in my reviews. But I have started wanting to write more reviews, especially if the book really impacted me.
Hmm.
And I think that is going to be something that I want to do for 2026. Like a resolution would be to write more reviews and read more NetGalley arcs. And so that I feel like that just kind of helps me write reviews in general.
Hmm.
And so by doing that, maybe I'll write more reviews for just like regular books that I read. But yeah, right now I'm a vibes reviewer. It's like, will I, won't I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and that's another sort of reason why I appreciate the connection between Kindle and Goodreads is
Mm-hmm.
that when I'm reading on my Kindle and when I'm re like when I'm reading and a like passage speaks to me for some reason, I'm a highlighter.
Oh yeah.
So when you highlight on Kindle, it will auto-populate that into your Goodreads
Mhm.
account.
Yep.
Um, so sometimes there are times that I don't leave reviews, but I'll make my highlights public and then put comments to my highlights as to, like why I highlighted them.
Okay,
Um,
I like that. That's a really good idea actually, because I do have like on Kindle Unlimited from a few books. I have like highlights
mhm.
saved, of course, but that's a really good idea.
Yeah, and it's just like is another way to be like this is something that I appreciated from this book because like you like
Mm.
I don't I in in every thing that I read and everything that I consume, like I'm gonna be honest about it. Like I'm not gonna say that I liked
Oh yeah.
something if I didn't. Um, but I'm also not going to shit on an author. You know, like
No.
there are so many people that like this is their life's work. This is like what they feel that they were put on this earth to do. And like
Yeah.
What they're doing might not be for me, but it is for someone.
Correct. Oh, absolutely.
And it's like it's not my prerogative to like make people feel bad about the things that they're doing that bring them joy.
Right.
Um,
Right.
that said, these reading apps are not author spaces, they're reader spaces. So like
Yes.
I understand why people do leave really harsh reviews and like I
Mhm.
will be harsh, but I'm not going to be mean.
Correct.
And
Towards
I
the
think
author,
that there's
absolutely not. No.
yeah, no. And I think that there is a balance for that. If I'm feeling like really mean about a book, and there have been a couple, um, I just don't review them.
Oh, yeah.
Or I'll give myself like I'll rate them and I'll rate them low. But I'm just not
Obviously. Yeah.
going to review it because I don't know because like okay, backing it up here.
Back up.
Um, these are reader spaces, and when you're a reader that takes your thoughts outside of reader spaces and is doing something like this podcast or I have a bookstagram, they
Hmm.
also turn into professional spaces.
Oh, absolutely.
And I don't feel the need, like, if I wouldn't send something in an email at my job, then that's not how I'm going to word it on this review.
Oh, 1000%.
Because,
Or that
like,
if that's not the way that I would actually talk to somebody in real life, I would never, yeah. No, same difference. Yeah.
yeah. So, like, one of the reviews that I left for a NetGalley arc, um, the publisher reached out to me and was like, hey, we'd love to use a couple sentences of your review in our like promotional packages pre-publication.
Ooh,
Which, hey, coolest thing that's ever happened to me.
that's
What the
sick.
hell? Like as a reader, having your like thoughts on a book be like given out is like super
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Um, granted, it isn't like the like like on the front of books, it's like this author's that because I who gives a shit about what I'm saying, right? But it was like part of promotional materials, and I'm like, well, if I want to be seen as like a person whose reviews and like opinions and whatever have weight in terms of like publishing houses or authors or whatever to other readers
Yeah.
even, then I need to like write my reviews honestly and with integrity and also with respect. And I think that those are the three sort of pillars that guide how I review.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
mine, honestly, same for me too. Yeah, I've never understood like people who bash the author. But clearly that's not the good thing. But on the opposite side, this could be a whole nother topic. But I recently saw discourse on TikTok for an author who was writing messages back to people who reviewed their book and were like, well, why did you rate it this low? I think that authors, at least especially if it's like their first book
Mm-hmm.
or like they're new to writing and they just published a book, stay off. Because we might be good people in the reading spaces where we're not going to say mean things, but that is not everybody. So I truly feel, like I said, this could be a whole different topic, but readers should at least try to stay away, or writers should at least try to stay away from. And I think they actually have like apps specifically for writers
Mm-hmm.
in the reading spaces so that they can see reviews of other books, but maybe they can't see reviews of their books. And I just think that's like such a good idea.
Yeah. Well, and like, and that's the thing is that like I think that yeah, not everybody is like the most respectful in the way that they write their reviews, and that's their prerogative. Like they're not writing an email to the author saying, "Hey, your book sucked."
Yeah,
They're
correct.
like giving like a disclosure to other people being like, "I hated this book personally."
Yeah.
Um, and like I think that that's where yeah, like authors potentially need to just like not exist in those spaces,
Hmm.
and leave those spaces to readers. Or if they're going to exist in those spaces, they can't interact in those spaces because it takes
Exactly.
away then some of the like integrity of the spaces. Um, because then people aren't writing their reviews, or like they could be convinced out of writing their reviews honestly and with
Hmm.
readers in mind, and instead writing to like impress an author.
Or
Um,
even just like these readers now see that like you post, you ask why these people rate your book a certain way. Well, that sometimes that's going to actually make me not want to pick up your book.
yep.
If you have to have an opinion on how everybody else rates your book, that makes
Hmm.
me not want to pick up your book.
Yeah.
So,
And like I follow this author, um, Melissa Rorick. She writes
yes.
fantasy. Um,
Yes.
she's from North Dakota, which I think is like a fun little fact. Yeah, she lives in the western side of North Dakota, and I was like, Queen,
What?
love you.
Okay. Okay.
But she
That
doesn't
makes me
go
want to pick up her
on.
books.
Yeah, and they're great. Hey, so good. Um, she doesn't, as far as I can tell, she doesn't go into reader spaces like Goodreads, Storygraph, stuff like that. Instead, she has like a Facebook page where people who read her stuff can like join this Facebook page.
Yep.
Um, but that's very much like her author space. So like
Okay.
she limits, like you can't shit on her books in her author space. If you want to like shit on her books elsewhere, like that's your
Go
deal.
ahead. But
But
this
like
is
this
her
is her
space.
space and she's welcoming us into her space
I love that
instead
she
of,
created
yeah.
that.
And I think that it's like it's created such a cool community. Um, and it's a really supportive community, which I think for a lot of authors is kind of necessary, especially given that
Mm.
like the things that are going viral are the things where people are hating. So
Yep.
it's made hate and like really nasty hate in the book talk community really like it highlights
Mm-hmm.
that hate. Um
1000%. That's
yeah.
that honestly, that in and of itself could be a whole nother topic for us to
Mhm.
discuss because right now there is, and I, just because of what's happening in the world, I have limited my TikTok, not my news sources and like where I get my news and stuff like that. That's not what I've limited because I stay informed, but TikTok and book talk. Clearly they're the same thing. Like they're whatever. But they can be such just horrible places. And they can
Mhm.
be such great places. But right now there is so much discourse going on in the book talk community and now like YouTubers are getting involved in this and like YouTubers I actually just watched one who kind of like did an analysis where she was like we as booktubers or whatever, we can put something bad about book talk in our like title and that's going to get us views.
Mhm.
And it's like there's so much discourse happening that like YouTubers are now making money off of like this discourse.
Mhm.
And I feel like that would just be such an interesting topic to discuss. You could do something with your numbers too. Like, there we go, another episode.
Yeah, yeah, it's just like engagement sell or hate sells.
Mhm.
And like that's just like not who I am as a person and
Right.
not somebody that I wish to be. Especially in like my entrance and into this sort of reader space. But yeah,
Yeah.
great.
Look at we did it, guys.
2 episodes
Our
in.
second episode. We did our ratings. So now, with our next episode, we are doing the our 2025 wrapped. I was about to say 2026. Our 2025 wrapped will come out in January. And this will like our ratings and stuff hopefully will make a little bit more sense to people. Or They won't. I
Or they
don't.
won't at all, and people will be like,
Ratings
I
are
don't know what you mean.
subjective.
Yep.
Reading is subjective. Like everything is subjective in for reading. So maybe they won't, maybe they will, but you'll get a sense of like why and how we rate things.
And like the sort
Yeah,
of things that we're rating, because we just told you how we rank, but didn't really talk about the sort of things that we're ranking. So we'll get into that a little
correct.
bit more in the next episode.
Mhm.
Again, like if this is a space where you feel comfortable, we'd love to have you.
Absolutely.
We we are so excited to be here. We're so excited for you to be here. Um, yeah, keep your eyes peeled. Um, and we will be back soon. But in the meantime, like, subscribe, leave a comment. Tell
Comment.
us what you want to see from us. Yeah.
Exactly. We have so many episode ideas, but just let us know what you guys want to hear from us because we're open to a lot of things. We're excited.
Yes, so excited. Yeah, well, thank you for listening, and we will see you all here. You'll hear from us in a couple weeks.